When I was in college, I used to take RMI and Gorba. Little did I know, 24 years later, I would be back. Hey, this DevOps thing is just about 10 odd year old, and you say that you have over 20 years of experience in DevOps. My background in programming has been Java, built on various flavors of Unix. I default back to Java and Unix because that's how I think. You have to sell yourself, not sell your soul. So my question to you is, hello girls and boys, how's it going? I'm recording this video in July of 2024 and I just realized something. I have completed 24 years in this build, release, DevOps, whatever you might call it. I passed out in the year 2000 and I've had a fantastic ride so far. And in this video, I want to talk about 10 things that I learned in 20 plus years of my experience. Now it's a completely unfiltered video like all others, and I will talk to you straight from my heart. I will tell you 10 lessons that I've learned, and after each lesson, I have a question for you. So this video is very important if you are a student in college or if you're just about to get into your first job. It'll help you clear up some of the fundamental questions. If you've just started in your job or you have 1, 2, 3 years experience, this is a good video to watch because it'll help you lay down the foundations of a rock solid career. If you are about 10 odd years experience, this video will tell you how to deal with office politics. If you're getting stuck there, it'll give you some pointers on how to keep moving ahead in career. If you are about 15-20 years of experience, sit back and watch this video because I will share some nuggets that you will resonate with you, and hopefully I can give you 1 or 2 pointers using which you can pivot your career. So this video is for everybody, whether you are in college about to start your career or you have 20 plus years of experience going through. I will be able to relate to each one of you. So strap on your seatbelts. But before that, if you're new here, my name is Savinder Puri, and along these years, I've had the privilege to work, of course, in India, US, UK, South Africa. I've kind of been around the world. Right now, I work with Zensa Technologies as Associate VP, DevOps, SRE, and AI. You can check on my LinkedIn profile to get more details. So strap on your seatbelts. Let's get started. So before I start, one of the first questions that I'm very often asked is, hey, this DevOps thing is just about 10 odd year old, and you say that you have over 20 years of experience in DevOps. How the heck is that possible? I'll tell you how. So when I passed out in the year 2000, one of my first jobs was for a company called Neilsoft. And at Neilsoft, we used to make products for Autodesk. Products for designing. It's a CAD software, right? If you've heard of it, it's used for designing, right? The mechanical guys would know this. Now, in Autodesk specifically, my official designation was build engineer. And what we were doing there was something called localization. What does that mean? That means you've seen Microsoft Office, you've seen various other tools, but the UI, the user interface is in English. Now, people like Microsoft, they don't just ship in English, they ship the product in different languages. At the start of installing of a product, you can choose the language. That's what we were doing. So we were responsible for shipping the product in 9 languages. So we didn't used to translate, we used to get the translation packages from countries, the different vendors from different countries, and our job was to create the software build corresponding to that country. Right? So we were building software right there, we were deploying it, we were testing it. And this has been happening in the software industry since the first line of software was written. Because the moment you write a line of software programming code, somebody has to build it, somebody has to deploy it, somebody has to monitor it. So this DevOps thing has been as old as computer programming. The only thing was back there in the early 2000s, we didn't know it was called DevOps. The word hadn't been coined, but we were doing pretty much the same things. Now in this last 23-24 years, obviously the tools, the technology, everything has changed. but the fundamentals remain the same. So let's talk about 10 lessons in 20 plus years. Number 1, focus on the basics. Now, this is something which is very, very important in today's day and age because there is AI and there is so much going on in the world that if you just keep reading about new tools and technologies going out, you will go crazy, right? So there is no way you can keep up with all that is happening in the world. So focus on the basics. If you're starting out, focus on the fundamentals. Now, when I started out, I used to be a Java faculty. In fact, fun fact, when I was in college, I used to take a batch for RMI and Gorba. These are old legacy Java technologies. I used to teach that, and I taught that for corporate batches. And one of the batches I did was for Zensa technologies. Little did I know, 24 years later, I would be back as head of DevSecOps and SRE in the same organization. Amazing fact, right? So my background in programming has been Java. My primary operating system after Windows has been built on various flavors of Unix. So whenever I'm understanding a problem statement, I default back to Java and Unix because that's how I think, because that's been my training, that's my fundamental, right? So my question to you is, what do you think in? I think in Java and Unix. Number 2, stay curious. Now, this is a very, very, very important thing if you are in the DevOps area. And I'll tell you why. Because one of the fundamental questions of a DevOps engineer is always to ask good questions. It's a fundamental trait of a DevOps engineer. I'll give you an example. So if you are talking to a development team and if you have to set up their build pipeline, you should ask questions like, why are you building it this way? Is there a better way to build it? Do you have all the dependencies you need? Is there a better way to deploy this? Do you really need this much of caching? You have to ask the good questions. So to do that, you always have to keep your brain fresh. And to be able to do that, you have to stay curious all the time. And how do you do that? The way I stay curious all the time is to always keep learning one thing technical and one thing non-technical, because both are important. So on the technology side, these days, I'm experimenting with setting up a small language model on my MacBook Pro. And on the non-technical side, I've got this new Sony ZV-E10 camera, and I'm experimenting on what are the best settings for that to give you a better experience. And this blur that you're seeing on both sides, this is a result of those experiments. I still haven't figured out all of the stuff. There is still a slight lag after I record, but I'm working on it. So technology, non-technology, stay curious. Number 3, stay technical. So many moons ago, one of my manager asked me, and he said that, Savinder, I know that you will do very well in your career. And 5, 10, 15 years later, I might meet you as the CEO of a company, as a director of the company. But I will ask you only one question. And the question will be, when did you create your last build? Because I was a build engineer back then. And I have embodied that question for the last about 15 plus years. Now, what does it mean create a build? Because I was obviously a DevOps engineer, he asked me that question. But your definition of a build could be anything fundamental. If you're a developer, when was the last time you wrote a beautiful piece of code that you're proud of? If you're a tester, when did you catch a phenomenal defect that nobody else could catch? If you are in infrastructure, when did you do a phenomenal cost saving on the infrastructure? You get the idea. When have you done the last good technology work which has given you some peace of mind? And that's the core technology that you thrive in. So stay technical, and especially in today's day and age where there is so much AI coming in and nobody really knows what the future is, only the core technical people will survive going forward. So what used to be good advice couple of years back, today is a rock solid advice, and the way to go forward as well. What used to be cool to do is now a necessity. Number 4, keep your family together. And I say this with a lot of compassion because your friends will move away to different countries and continents. Your colleagues will go away when you switch companies. Your relatives will probably leave you when shit hits the ceiling. But the family is the only one who will always stay together with you. So take care of your family. Take time out from your busy schedules. Spend time with your family. If you have kids, play with the kids. My daughter right now is 11. Already see that after the next 2-3 years, she won't even need us. So spend time with your kids if they are small. Spend time with your wife, your spouse, your husband, because he or she is the only one who is seeing you through, who will see you through, and who will be by your side no matter what. And the way we do it is, nowadays it's rainy season pretty much all across India. And in this season, a lot of the times, in fact today, right now, the plan is after I shoot this video, I don't have meetings in the evening. We're going to close the curtains. We're going to watch a good family movie together, curled up in the blanket. Very simple thing. It'll take an hour. One movie, popcorn, family time. Whatever works for you. You get the idea. Question for you. How do you spend your family time together? Number 5. Develop a sense of humor because shit will get ugly. Now this is something that I learned several years ago where one of my friends came up and said that how do you always manage to crack a joke in the toughest of the situations? And I have been like this all throughout my life. But I realized later on that I have to put in some extra effort to keep that sense of humor alive. And why is it important? Because when things go wrong, everybody will start getting tensed. That's the point when you have to maintain your shit together, maintain the poise and the calm, and then start thinking logically to solve an issue. The issue could be a work issue, it could be a family issue, it could be something with the relationships, any kind of issue. So maintain a streak of humor, but good quality humor. And your wife or husband is the best one to tell you, or your friends or your girlfriend to tell you whether your humor is good quality or bad quality. How do I do this? So I think a month or 2 back, Veer Das, he's one of my favorite comedians.
Because Indians, we go abroad and hope nobody finds us at all. Including our own fucking families.
He does super intelligent comedy. He had come down to Pune and I went ahead and watched his show. So I take dedicated time out to invest in comedy and to keep my sense of humor alive. Every once in a while, I would, watch some stand-up comedians. That also keeps the humor alive. Question for you. How do you keep your sense of humor alive? Number 6. Learn to sell yourself. Now, I'm very careful when I say this because I meet a lot of people and here is a common underlying theme which a lot of them say. They say I'm technically very good. I can solve problems. I can work with my team. Why do I need to promote myself? The office, my boss, the organization should take care of me. I should get the raises on my own. I should get the increments on my own. I should get the promotions on my own. Good idea, my friend, but doesn't happen in reality. You have to sell yourself, not sell your soul. I'll tell you the difference. Selling yourself is promoting what you have done, what you have achieved, what you have done, not the work of others. It is giving due credit when somebody has helped you. Selling your soul is outrightly going and doing things which are not the right things to do, right? Somebody else did something and before he or she could speak, you say, ye to maine kiya. So somebody else did something and before he or she could say something, you jump the gun and you tell the boss, hey, this is what I did. I solved this problem. Not fair. Not right. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about genuinely selling yourself. And how do you do it? For whatever work you have done, You highlight that in the right meetings with your boss, with your boss's boss, with your peers, with your peers' boss. But do it in a right and a genuine way. Do not go about bragging yourself. And then do this on social media itself. Do this on LinkedIn with the intent of helping others, teaching others, sharing your knowledge. But in your organization, in that context, you have to sell yourself, but do it with what resonates with you. But it's an important thing to do. Otherwise, you can keep doing the work. Nobody will even know that. And when the right time comes, people will not know how to judge you. You will not get your due. So listen to this point again. Hopefully you will understand what I'm trying to say. Do not oversell yourself. Do not brag out, but learn to sell yourself properly to the level that you can resonate with and accept it. Let me know in the comments if you have had any experience or if you had any questions about this. So my question to you is, have you started displaying your skill in public? Have you learned to sell yourself at work? Number 7, listen to everyone, trust your gut. Now, this is something that a lot of people struggle with. DevOps, how do you read about it? How do you start doing it? How do you keep yourself technically updated? What project should I do? I get so many of these questions every single time. And a lot of the times, people seem confused. So when you have a question, when you have something that's disturbing you, you can listen to everybody who's around you, but do what your gut is telling you to do. I'll give you an example. When I started YouTube, I met a lot of creators. I attended a lot of workshops, and almost everybody told me spirituality and tech do not merge together. Spirituality has a different audience, tech has a different audience. You cannot merge these two. It doesn't make sense. Make 2 channels. On one you talk spirituality and one you talk DevOps, cloud, tech, whatever. I listened to everybody, and with all the humility, I stuck to what I had started to do. I kept this combination alive. And every once in a while, I see a comment saying, I love the way you're combining tech and spirituality. Nobody else seemed to be doing this. Keep doing it. And that's my validation. So my question to you is, do you listen to others or do you listen to your gut? Number 8, put in the hard work when required and do not shy away. Now, I'm very, very careful when I say this, because I am not making the statement that Narayan Murthy made and he got in a lot of trouble, that youngsters today should work 70 hours a week. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, when it is required, when there is a deadline, when you're passionate about something, when you are engulfed about something, go deep, put in the effort. If you don't sleep for a night, if you don't sleep for 2 nights, nothing happens. I have done it so many times. I still do it once in a while. I can tell you that. When you need to put in the work, go all out. When there is an important assignment at work, when there is something critical happening at home, when a close friend needs you, when you have a tight delivery timeline in your project, when you're doing something passionate, go all in and put in all the bloody effort that you can. You have no idea how and when you will get rewarded for this. Trust me, I have done this. My question to you is, when was the last time you put in this kind of effort? If the answer is, I don't remember, there is something to think about. I will tell you my answer. Last week when I rolled out the Ambani video, I sat up till 4 a.m. to write down the script for that video. Why did I have to do that? Because it was time critical. That video couldn't have gone out this week because now Ambani wedding is out of the news media. So time was of the essence. I got an idea. I sat down that night, made out the script for that. Next morning, early morning, I record. I need the sun coming from this window to record. I can't record at night. But I sat up till 4:30 a.m. So I have done my hard work last week. When was yours? Number 9, lead with example. As you grow in your career, as you attain higher positions, people will not listen to what you say. People will see what you do. Read this again. And that's called leading by example. I'll give you an example how I did this recently. So yesterday there was a conference in Pune, a DevOps conference in Pune. I had put 2-3 posts about this on LinkedIn. If you're connected to me, you would know about it. And there, about 2 weeks before this conference, I had called my entire team in Zensar and I told them that, hey guys, I am going to this conference. I'll be speaking on this conference. I have 3 tickets from the organizer events. If anybody wants to ticket, feel free to get it from me. I'll give you the coupon code. My underlying statement there, what I said to them after all of this mambo jumbo was, guys, I am going and speaking at a conference in Pune. There will be another conference in 4 to 6 months. I want 2 of you to go and speak at that conference. Which 2? I do not know. I will wait and watch who comes up and who wants to talk. I will help you. I will support you. I will give you directions. I will even probably give you introduction to the organizers. I will tell you how to write a CFP. I will help you with all of that. But you will have to come to me to say, hey, I want to go and talk at a DevOps conference. And why would you do that? Because I am going ahead and talking in a conference in 2 weeks. What was I doing? Leading by example. When did you last lead with an example? Number 10 and the final one. It's a small world. It all comes back. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have just rejoined Zensar after 2.5 years. It all comes back. Tech and software is a very, very small field. And no matter what you do, it will boomerang back to you. So be very careful of the way you're dealing with people. When you're moving out of an organization, make sure you have good relationship. Don't screw it up. I've spoken about graceful entry and gracious exit in one of my previous videos. I will link it up in the pinned comments. Have a look at that. But it's a small world. Be good with people. And then my last bonus tip, invest in people, make friends for life. We are spending upwards of 10-12 hours on work every day. You should have a bunch of friends जिनके साथ आप बकचोदी कर सको at office. Because you gotta make that place fun. Whether you're meeting physically or working remotely, doesn't matter. But you need those 1, 2, 3 friends at work who will make your work life interesting and whom you can crack those jokes with a work context. Invest in people, help people, make friends for life, no matter where you are. So just as an example, last week I had lunch with a friend of mine whom I have known for 15 years. I know this guy from Siemens PLM. You can check my LinkedIn profile. You can know when I was working there. That's the kind of relationship we want to build with people. Invest in people. Question to you, how do you invest in people? Hope this video made sense. And I have poured my heart out. I have shared some things which I've learned along this journey. In the comments, let me know which point resonated with you and how you do some of these things. And I'll see you in the next one.